Eskhaton, which was our, Cthulhu-esque LARP, we approached it with a similar kind of mindset. We didn't want to kind of get into the gloomier aspects of being a cultist. We decided that there are cults, and they know that the world's coming to an end, and they're actually coming to celebrate it. Because, for one reason or another, let's say you're a cultist and maybe you're kind of reluctant. You just know that the great old ones exist. You have a terrible truth, right? It's a truth that you know. And what you do with that, how you involve that with your reality is part of the psychodrama for the design of that. Then you had other people who were enthusiastically cultists because it's fun to be a cultist. And we wanted the play space to be more around what do normal-ish people do when they have horrible truths in this sort of scenario, and to try and just create an atmosphere that was permissive, so that people could explore that and kind of go down different roads for their character journey. And yeah, I think with a lot of our LARP design, that's what we try to do, is to bring in, okay, what's fun for people, like what people recognize Cthulhu, so we'll run something like that. A Lovecraftian LARP is interesting, so what can we do to make that interesting?
But one of the design artifacts we publish, so we create all the characters in that, like, people fill out a character survey and then we cast them in certain roles. So people get handed a document that says, like, this is your name, these are your friends, like, these are your goals. People can always choose to, like, use them, not use them. If they're interesting to them, great. If they don't like them, we can rewrite them. But, like, the design artifact we generate usually is a hook into the universe. So, like, for Seance Sessions, it was pretty straightforward. You were skeptical or you were a believer, right? Like, you believe ghosts are real or you don't believe ghosts are real. But actually, a lot of the way people get cast is they thought a survey ahead of time that says, like, oh, I want to be a skeptic or I'd like to be a believer. And they get filled into the roles that fill those archetypes. For something like Eskhaton, it's a bit more complicated because we generated a whole alternative Cthulhu mythos for it. Like, each of the cults we had, we generated old ones that they were secretly supporting. We had a whole history and backstory about how the cults were one monocult at one point and then all broke apart, and the traditions that they followed, and deep lore on all the cults and how everybody ties into those things. And there was a whole ritual mechanic in the game as to how people could choose which apocalypse ended up being there. But, like, an example though would be, but we also asked people, like, what they thought would be cool for scenes so that we could help set them up. There were some wild things that came out of that. Like, we bought a pig back, for instance, like an actual pig back, and we had somebody wearing it with, like, chainmail under their shirt because someone, like, they wanted to do, like, a scene where they were flaying somebody. So we had one of our friends, like, wearing a cultist robe and having, like, a giant pig back on, and literally, like, that was what participants were looking to do. So, I mean, like, we say what you see is what you get. We do the best we can to achieve the outcome of those results. And so a lot of it is actually people coming up with wild stuff and us trying to execute on, like, this crazy scene for them.
Well, I got two thoughts coming off of that, but let me say that the one that as far as the Lovecraftian cults go, I've written Lovecraftian stories, and they're not published. The stories are published, but I've also written an RPG manual and world books in Lovecraftian settings.
Okay,
and those aren't published yet. But the approach that we took with this is that we wanted to be the cultists. That is, be the cultists, and I hadn't seen that before. And I wanted to bring that to, because the trope is to always be some kind of investigator, and then you're watching something and you're trying to figure out what's going on. But we came in and we said, man, there is all this material, or that's hinted at with all these different kinds of cults that are doing all this kind of, and there is a tremendous amount of storytelling and fantasy and stuff like that could happen in that. And so we took that in the tabletop route and in the stories. It's really interesting to hear that you guys also picked up on that, but you're doing it in LARP.
Yeah. I mean, one of our favorite cults was Progenitus, which is like better living through Lovecraft science. It's like if it's like like take your pills and do workouts and advance your career, but through like a Lovecraft science like mega corporation. Like we thought that was a lot of fun to write and do. And there was like a water-based one. We did like a Dark Heart of Woods one. We did one that was sort of your stereotypical like bookish Lovecraft cult. And then we did one that was really about like chaos and pattern seeking. And so we tried to like abstract things that we thought were really cool about like the mythos in general, and write different factions that could embody those kinds of things, and then wrote like what we think an old one could be around those things.
If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. It'll be greatly appreciated. And also, please check out The Cultists, the web series on this channel about modern-day D&D playing Lovecraftian cultists who just want to worship Cthulhu in a world full of people who just don't understand. Season 1 is on the channel now. But also, please check out my YouTube channel. I have over 200 videos on tabletop gaming and the sci-fi and fantasy genres. If you enjoyed this video, you'll likely enjoy many of them as well.